hailing frequencies are open.
The Phoenix Files podcast starts now.
Hey everybody, and welcome into another episode of Phoenix Files. Crew of Starbase Phoenix here. I'm Trent.
And I'm Jal.
And I am Moltrazahn.
And we have a very special guest joining us on the podcast today to talk about one of his main characters. ExDe707 is with us today. Hello, X.
Top of the morning to you.
All right, well, let's get right into things. Let's talk about Kias, our illustrious security officer, Lieutenant Commander Kias Moreras. First, X, tell us a little bit about Kias, where he comes from, and his background.
All right, so Kias is my lovely security officer who's a Kitian. He's He's actually been raised on Earth, near Venice, and what makes him special is that he spent a lot of his childhood on Venice, and he's been riding those boats and gondolas, exploring the culture a bit, and he's grown up as a Kitian that doesn't really fear water like most other Kitans, or neither does he have what's the scientific term for the fear of the ocean? I don't know. I forgot, but he's not afraid of water. He still hates it. He still hates getting his fur wet. But nonetheless, he has still visited his bigger family, Moreras, on Kite. His bigger family is there because only his mother and father are living on Earth. So he's got to know his Kitian family. He's got to know two different cultures, one from Earth, one from Kite. So he knows both. He's bilingual. He knows Kite and he knows English.
How did he end up on Earth? How did his parents end up there?
Well, I haven't been giving much thought about that. But let's just say his parents had a small disagreement with the rest of his family, like with his aunt and the children.
Ooh, drama.
So there's a little bit of family drama involved.
You had a really nice story that you posted in our first story competition about him leaving some of his extended family. Yeah,
that was that was the last time he was with his parents on a Kite. Well, it's been a while since I've written that story.
It was some nice insight though into his background, and it's really neat that he comes from Earth. That's like you said, the dual culture is interesting there.
Yeah. What I've also meant to say is that during his time on Earth, he's actually discovered his own passion for. He's actually found his own passion for different types of music, and in turn, this got him to get interested in martial arts training.
That's right. We have been seeing some of his martial arts. So we've seen Kias start to develop and go through a couple really interesting scenarios now in the fleet. And I think the most notable one in everyone's mind is the end of our Shadows arc, where Kias very dramatically threw himself on that grenade. So what led up to that situation where he was willing to do that? And what was his thought process in the moment?
So, there was you've got to imagine Kias standing and looking at the door where the exit or airlock or whatever that was where the mirror Bayless, Trent Bayless came up, and he was in between the rest of the group and Mirabilis, and he saw the grenade, and then Trent threw the grenade, and he basically didn't have much time to react, or neither to think at all. He has got to rely on his instincts, and I believe his martial arts training has led him to to act quickly and with as little thought as possible. So he chose to intercept the grenade midair, uses kite and legs, and shield everyone from the explosion and the flying shrapnel. So so he didn't really have a train of thought. He saw the grenade, saw a danger in it, intercepted the grenade, and that was basically it in his mind.
Certainly did save everybody. That was one of our more heroic moments in RP, I feel like.
It was. So Kias knew that he's got things to protect. He's a security officer. Like Trent once said to me, he's a military cat through and through. because Kitans have quite no, let me rephrase that. Kitans value friendship and the relationship with other people a lot, and being in the fleet was important for Kias, and so his decision was to protect everyone.
Well, I think you answered it pretty honestly there, and I think we can all agree that he is a very passionate person, both about this job and about those that he considers to be close with him. I remember the times when Arkin tried to share a grenade with him, but it wasn't the same result. But to go a little bit forward here, how has that whole incident affected Kias, and how is he taking the promotion that supposedly stemmed from his actions that day?
Okay, so before the incident happened, and when Kias first joined the fleet and got himself familiar with the other fleet members, he was he was rather conflicted with himself and everything, and then he got to know a few people, like for example Lieutenant Valeran, who has helped him find his inner peace through meditation. So Valeran has introduced Kias to some forms of meditation that he could practice for himself, and it has helped him in a way, but he still hasn't really got an idea how he would fit in the fleet here, because he had rather high standards and a rather low self-esteem. So his problem was that he hasn't had many people to talk to, and even though he didn't have a lot of people to talk to, he still knew to value the lives of his fleet mates, because those are his fleet mates. He works with them, and when he jumped on the grenade, and after he survived his injuries, after he woke up from his coma, his mindset has changed quite a lot. He's no longer blaming himself for the majority of the things that he does wrong. He instead chose to accept who he really is and what he does. So he actually has found some meaning in this heroic action when he saved the group that was on the relic when the grenade was thrown. So now he is more open to people. He's generally more friendly, and he's got more people to talk to.
Well, to that point, how do you think he's starting to fit in with the fleet as a whole? It sounds like that incident has sort of changed how he approaches people in the fleet. And I imagine having his martial arts sessions has also helped him to grow those connections.
So about his martial arts sessions, he holds them regularly, and he makes his martial arts sessions open to everybody to come in, no matter how much experience you've had with martial arts before. He will teach it to you. His martial arts lessons give him a possibility to interact with the other fleet members by teaching them a few tricks from martial arts like judo or Thai kickbox and other things like that. So it's not, but it is not just the techniques that he teaches. He also teaches the people the mindset they have to adapt to it when they're fighting. So he's actually helping people build up confidence in themselves. And Joe has actually participated in one of Kia's martial arts sessions, and
she had fun.
And yep, yeah, that was Kia's impression too. So she had a lot of fun. She was being quite enthusiastic.
Maybe a little too enthusiastic.
So that helped Kia's have some insight on who Zhao sort of is. So that's his strategy of getting to know people. It's not about their personalities or about their career or anything like that. He remembers people by the actions they do, by their daily routine.
That's a really interesting perspective, and I like that you said that he's struggled a bit with self-esteem, but through these sessions he's trying to help other characters build up some self-esteem and self-confidence.
That's the development I was aiming for, and it seems like I've been successful with it.
I certainly think so. Yeah, so speaking of character development and characters in general, I think all of us at this point have noticed that we have a lot of cats in the fleet. We have a very good feline presence. I know they're so easy to miss, right? You just. But we've noticed in your role play that you put a lot of work into Kias's body language and into bringing some of his culture in from Kate. And so what is it like in your experience to be playing a Cation? It seems like there's a lot of subtlety to it.
Well, let me tell you one thing, and that is that Kaitians cannot lie because they're a second layer of communication. You know, the whiskers, the ears, their eyes, their tail. They reveal everything about their current emotions, and you can actually tell when a Kaitan is lying, even if he's trying to best to conceal his conceal his expression. And so what it feels like to play a Kaitian, for me, it's actually pretty cool. You know, I'm not actually that big of a fan of anthropomorphic characters. but but my opinion on Kitans is that they're actually well developed. They have a well developed culture. They are defined as aliens, so you can't imagine a Kitan just being a person with cat ears or a cat that appears to have the bipedal build of a human. So they're completely alien, and that's what makes them interesting. Unlike some other anthropomorphic characters from other shows.
That's a really good point. Yeah,
I
they've
hadn't thought of
developed
it
a
that way.
very strong presence in Star Trek canon, especially in STO.
Still, that is interesting information. I should have Arkin go up to Kiesna. Do you like me? And then see him start side glancing, scratching his neck, his ears fall down, his tail flick out, and go, yeah.
Love you and all your grenades and flashbangs.
You're very precious to me. Yeah.
I have to say, I think Kies has some of the most unique relationships with people in the entire fleet. Most of them are built on grenades in some form or another. Well, we're going to take a break. We've got a lot more still to come right here on The Phoenix Files.
But darling, I still catch a grenade for ya. Throw my hand on the blade for ya. I jump in front of a train for ya.
The following is a public service announcement from food services at Starbase Phoenix.
Eat your damn dog.
The preceding has been a public service announcement from food services at Starbase Phoenix. We are not responsible for any nausea caused by consumption.
Hello, my fellow compatriot of playing Star Trek Online. Are you enjoying what you're hearing here on the 5th? Well, I hope so. We're planning to do a lot more for you in the coming days. However, we will be selfish enough to ask you for a small favor. If you have any spare money, if it's $1 or even less, please consider donating it to our Epic plan on the 5th SOD website. Everything you donate will go to a good cause, and it will help us to create more content in the coming time. This is no pressure, this is entirely up to you, and we will love you and observe you from your bedroom no matter what you do. This is Molt, and you have a fantastic day.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Phoenix Files. Trent here with Joel, Moltrazahn, and ExDe707, continuing our discussion. A lot has happened actually in the fleet, even though it's been relatively quiet storyline-wise. We've had a lot of little things here and there. Of course, Admiral Tiller getting married last week, although that wasn't without incident. Of course, there was a bit of a security issue
What wedding
before
is without incident?
before the wedding. Oh, that's true.
Granted, most don't involve murders.
Or the need for massive amounts of security. Let's talk a little bit about that, though, about the wedding and the incident. What was it like? I'll just throw this out to the floor. Anybody that wants to answer. What was it like having a wedding in the fleet? We don't have those very often.
It was fun. It's not the first wedding we've had in the fleet, but it's the first wedding we've role played in the fleet, to my knowledge. And I thought that was quite fun.
Not to mention that along with the roleplay between the fleet itself, we also had Tiller, who had made a what do you call them? an adventure for us, basically. Tiller, Death Do Us Part.
That was
Till death
brilliant.
do us part.
I think I laughed every time I saw that title.
which is a Foundry mission. And he has, to my limited knowledge, made it all by himself. And he had lots of characters and lots of dialogue, and there was choices, different things you could say. So it was interesting to have that sort of, you sort of start off with that, and then once you do that whole thing, because I don't want to spoil it too much, after that we do the actual role play with the actual wedding is being done. So that was interesting.
That is something of note. People that weren't able to attend the wedding for whatever reason can still play the mission. It's still on the Foundry. So if you want to experience all of that and what happened and meet some of the people that are around, it's a good way to do that.
I thought it was hilarious when some of his other characters showed up, like how Trevor was one of the wedding guests. That was great.
And of course, there was a lot of security involved. X, I imagine, poor Kias is getting a little overworked lately.
He is.
And then last night, we had this incident with we're calling it a caveman, but because we don't really know what else to call this alien, but
Humanoid.
a primitive humanoid. I like that. So for those of you that weren't there for this RP, basically what happened was a single alien from another world, sort of a cave dwelling Neanderthal type, yeah.
Top-based life form.
Yeah. He found himself stuck in our world after the merge almost happened. One of the
because he thought we were done with that, but guess again.
Yes. So he attacked somebody at one of the dig sites, and so it became a big incident. And we had to get this guy out. But I think the bigger story, and now, of course, now he's sitting on a holodeck that in a program that we made to make him more comfortable. So while we figure out what to do with him.
Making fire and hunting fake animals.
Yes.
Tromping through the holographic forest.
But I think the bigger incident that came out of that was a little bit of a disagreement, shall we say, between Trent and a couple certain security officers. X, let me ask you, what was going through Kias's mind when he stood up to Trent's orders like that?
So he saw and he heard the argument between Jasena and Trent. So he thought of himself, that is not fair. That is unjust. I will follow Jasena, and I would not serve a. I would not serve a fleet admiral giving such orders.
I guess I should set the scene a little bit. So the alien was in a cave on the colony planet on Solus Nua, and they needed to get him out of the cave. They needed to do something because they can't have him running around hurting people and things. It's not safe for him. It's not safe for our personnel. So they tried to lure him out by building a fire and cooking some food and trying to lure him out that way, but it didn't work. And so eventually Trent realized that they needed to do something, so he decided to have them go into the cave to stun him and bring him out physically. But the problem with that, of course, is that it's dark. The cave is extensive, so it's hard to find anybody in there. And he would have the upper hand because he could, come out of the shadows and attack people. And this guy's 7 feet tall, very strong. Oh. So Trent ordered the security team to go in and fire their phasers on a wide angle stun setting every 30 meters. And Jacinta was very against that, and so was Kias. So tell us what they did then, Kias. What Jacinta and Kias ended up doing.
Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about Kias and what made him partially disagree with him going inside that cave. And I'm going to mention that one time when he went in the Trillium K mine on Solas Nua when we did the Shadows arc. So his team got locked up in the cave.
That's right.
Yeah, and let me tell you that Kias is a claustrophobe. So he wasn't very fond of the idea of going in the cave. Actually, roleplayed him having his ears being pulled back, and that was suggested fear. And but the main reason for him not going in there is because of the in his view reckless approach. That Starfleet phasers, when they are set to stun, that they vaporize water, and there's a good chance that cave might have been pretty moist. The entire planet is just, I don't know, 90% water or something, and Kias didn't want to risk himself again getting locked up because, well, being locked up and having no one be able to find you is certainly a fate worse than death.
That's a good point. That is a really good point.
So was it?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go on. No, I wanted to ask. So, what was it really that motivated him the most? Was it the fear of the cave, or was it the disagreement with the order of how to capture the Neanderthal?
But the biggest motivation was his fear, even though he didn't want to show it, because, well, he's actually trying to impress people and not show himself as a weakling. So, but what has driven him a lot as well is that Jacinta actually I forgot what she did. Actually, Trent, I think Trent sent her out on leave. Was it?
Yeah, Trent basically said, "Look, either follow my orders or get out of here and get relieved of duty." And so she walked away. Yeah, she did. She decided not to follow orders, and so then the next ranking officer was Kias, and so Trent went to Kias and said, "Okay, you're running point," and he said no. So by that point, now Trent is really rather mad because now he's got a bunch of security officers telling him no, in front of everybody, mind you. It's not even just like behind closed doors. So yeah.
I think that was the point he was making, wasn't it? That he's like, if people disagree with my orders, fine, but come to me privately and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, don't. Jacinta even went so far as to yell at Trent in front of everybody. Most of these people are junior officers, and so Trent did not take kindly to that at all.
Oh, lovely peak
yes.
drama.
I remember that. Don't be an idiot, Trent. Like,
don't be an idiot.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just gonna go get my armor.
Yeah, Arkin was much more behind this plan, wasn't he?
Oh, definitely. I mean, let's go in there and shoot our guns at it. Yeah.
It's like, I've been waiting for this.
He has. I mean, you have to remember, this is a guy that is all about, let's solve this as quickly, as efficiently as possible. He literally said something along the lines of, well, we can just eliminate it. And Jacinta said, Arkin, is there any of your problems that you don't solve by killing? And he goes, no, that's why I have so few.
That was a fantastic line.
It's good logic.
Yes, it's very straightforward.
So after he got his tactical armor, we're standing there with a low quality rifle he picked up because he only has like lethal weapons with kinetic projectiles, not actual energy. So I was having a standard low quality rifle. But anyways, while he's standing there looking at the entrance, we have another person coming
That's
up
right.
who says,
that,
"Hey,
Now, who is that?
Ricala.
Yeah."
Oh, Ricala. Oh,
And Ricala went, "Do you have a flashbang, or does anyone have a flashbang?" And obviously, Arkin has a flashbang because he's already introduced those flashbangs to Kias in the past, explosively so. So he goes, "Yeah, here," and he gives one, and she straight up, tired of listening to people argue, just runs into the cavern with a flashbang.
Oh man, Trent
Trent had his hands full.
Trent had his hands full. She comes running back out and out of breath and panicked, and Trent's like, "What happened?" She goes, I think I made it more angry." Trent's like, "Well, that's what you get when you don't listen." But in the end, we went through the cavern. They saved the day. They captured the alien, and now he's sleeping safely in a holodeck while they decide what to do.
Yeah, they're gonna have to get him back to his own universe somehow.
That's right.
That was a very interesting night, though, because I came in late, and so Jal comes walking up, and she sort of knows what's going on, but doesn't know the details, and she just sees Jacenna and Kia sitting in the sand. She's like, "Well, this doesn't look good. What's happened now? Who do I have to yell at next?"
It's good to know that Trent can rely on Arkin and Valyrian to follow orders, and Aaron too. Aaron Carver.
no.
Valyrian was very diligent.
She was, yeah.
She offered to make a formal statement about what happened.
Arkin will follow orders. He might voice his disagreement with them, but I mean, in the earlier event we had with this whole where he served on Jacenna's ship, as it were, when she told him to, "You know what? I've heard your suggestions about killing the thing. We're not killing the thing, so be silent." He actually did shut up. So,
And he did resist killing it.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see where it goes from here. You might see Kias out there scrubbing the deck plating before long. For a while. We'll see what happens. It was definitely an interesting RP, but it was a lot of
Hold
fun.
on to that shiny new pip.
Yeah, don't let Trent take it back. Well, we're almost out of time, but we have some time for Canon Rapid Fire. We're changing it up again a little bit. Oh, we got sound effects. Wow. I didn't know we could afford that.
We just increased our budget.
So we're changing the rules up a little bit again. What we're going to do, it's sort of like a taboo style game here. So I've given these guys an object or a person or a thing from Star Trek canon, and what they have to do using single words, they have to try and get their counterparts to guess what it is they are talking about. Guess what the item is. So, are we ready?
yes.
Everyone ready? All right.
I am ready.
Okay, let's do this. Jal, let's start with you. 30 seconds, and your time starts now.
Okay. Battle, disastrous, Federation, Borg.
The Battle of Wolf something number.
Oh, numbers.
Wolf
Yes.
359.
Yeah,
Yes!
there we go. Ding, ding, ding. We got it.
Got him.
Wolf numbers.
Wolf 359. Wolf something. I like that.
All right, that's enough memes for today. I'm probably
All right.
about to get this podcast demonetized.
Molt,
okay, seriously,
Molt.
that's enough.
Molt, 30 seconds, your first topic, and go.
Classified molecule.
Omega.
Subspace. There you go.
Wow, that was quick. 6 seconds. Jeez.
I've been collecting all these omega traces for the last weeks.
I need to pick more difficult topics. All right, X, 30 seconds, your first item. Go.
Engineer, blind, the next generation.
Jordy.
Correct.
Jordy LaForge.
There you go. Good job. Good job. Wow. Okay. All right, Jal, you're up next. 30 seconds, and your time starts now.
Okay. Mirror universe. Scan. Frequency. Number. Trent. 149.5. Shadows.
Relic.
Scan.
Hang on a
The
minute.
subspace
Parallel universe.
signature of our reality.
2,
Subspace.
1. Oh, time is up. What was it, Jal?
Quantum signature.
Oh.
And here I go saying subspace signature. Bah.
You were close.
You're close. You're close. All right, Molt, 30 seconds. Your time starts now.
Very well. Transporter accident. Fusion.
Oh, Tuvix.
There you go.
Wow. Someone is on it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, our last one. X, you are the guest, so you get to send us off. 30 seconds, and your time starts now.
All right, prepare yourselves. Plating, defiant, energy,
Oh no.
dissipation,
Trans-basic cold plating. A blade of
yeah.
armor.
Oh, there it is.
Yes,
Really?
there
There
it
it is. A blade of armor. Good job. Wow.
Okay, that was lucky.
I'm starting to notice.
I think you had it when I said defiant.
Read it and weep, guys. The lady smoked you.
I'm
Oui.
starting to notice that
Touché.
I get lots of sort of pity points and half points in these games, but I never really seem to quite nail it.
We'll keep changing the rules until we find a version that you nail.
I think that version is me and Trent switching seats, and I just tell you what to do.
We'll make Trent participate finally.
Oh wow. All right, well, thank you guys so much. Thanks, X, for coming on the podcast today. We really appreciate it.
You're most welcome. Do remember to check out on Kias's Pete's, meatballs.
More social media.
He's gonna post some more of his Pete's on the social media board on the forums.
Oh, no.
That's, Trent, that was a glorious idea. Don't restrict my ability to post.
Oh, the social media. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast today, and we will see you next time for To Beam Up.